And behind the scenes, there are teams working very hard to come up with a proper image campaign. Let's bring in Clive Veroni, who's standing by with his take on where we stand at the end of the first week. And Lindsay Broadhead is also joining us as well. Welcome to both of you. We're going to start with this image of Erin O'Toole on the cover of the Conservatives' policy platform and Canada's recovery plan. And there he is with his arms crossed. He's wearing a T-shirt and he is the man with the plan. Clive Veroni, your take on what they were trying to do with this image?
It's a mystery to me what they were trying to do with this image. It seems like they have a somewhat divided approach to how they're shaping the image for O'Toole. On the one hand, there's what's happening on media, social media and media like this cover. You know, we have everything from Willy Wonka ads to now sort of Men's Health pin-up boy. And then on the other hand, you have O'Toole himself, who's talking about being, you know, an ex-army guy, coming from a GM family, a sort of everyman, somewhat, you know, burly kind of guy. And these images seem to be at conflict, and somehow they have to bring them together and bring them into focus, because right now, O'Toole remains a mystery to many Canadians. There are just as many Canadians who have sort of a neutral or no perception of him as have a negative perception of him, about 40-40, and then the remaining 20 have a positive perception of him. Until they can align these images and bring some clarity to who and what he is, I think they'll continue to be this fuzzy image.
Lindsay, I wonder whether they were trying to be bold with this and say, look, you know, our last leader, Andrew Scheer, was accused of being too bland and too stiff, so we're going to show you a guy who's just like you, could live in your neighborhood, on your street. I remember, you know, somebody saying he's the kind of guy you could borrow tools from if you know, if you needed a hammer or something. And here he is on the front cover of this, you know, their policy platform. Your take on it? Is it going to connect with some people?
Well, those are very large tools, because it seems like it's a bit of a muscle tee. And it's a shame, because I've actually read their platform and it's strong. Coming out of the gates, it's very strong. So it's actually a distraction from something that, frankly, is quite substantive and something we haven't seen from the Conservatives in a while. I think they were trying to do similar to what Clive was suggesting, is trying to make him accessible, you know, neighborly, perhaps, someone that you could speak candidly about your concerns right now. It obviously has failed because, you know, across the airwaves, we've all been talking about the cover and not the content. So it's actually quite counter to everything they're trying to achieve, which is trying to give the spotlight to a man who's had very little when his key competitor has been on the news and has access to the news every day because of the pandemic.
Yeah, well said. Competitor, let's show, if we can, how this all began with Justin Trudeau. And of course, this is a guy who has been, you know, elected prime minister twice, and so it began. He came out. There's images of him and his family, if we can show those, as they walked to Rideau Hall in Ottawa, and they were all wearing similar outfits as they made their way to Rideau Hall and the Governor General. And you had Justin Trudeau and his wife as well, Sophie, and their children all together. And the image that this was trying to project.
The Trudeaus have always been very well at creating choreographed moments, family moments. I think it's important for Trudeau right now to dispel different myths about the connectivity within his own family. That's certainly one image that he's trying to portray.
Yeah, and you know, let's be honest. I mean, Clive, you and I have covered Justin Trudeau for many years in the last campaign, and here we are again. This is a man who understands how important image is. And I mean, he learned it at the foot of his father back in the day. And, you know, whether you trace his political genesis from, running an election in Montreal all the way to becoming Liberal leader and then eventually Prime Minister, I mean, they are very careful with the way they craft the image. And when you looked at him and Sophie and the kids walking out, I mean, there again, they were trying to send a certain image. Now, what's the image that we're supposed to take away from that video?
Well, the image to me is very kind of soft focus. It's a gentle image. They put out an ad earlier this week, a minute-long ad that had the same feel to it. I call it a kind of soft focus ad. It had sort of scenes of majestic mountains and oceans and happy Canadians and stirring music. And the problem, the only thing missing from that ad was a few panpipes and Justin Trudeau running slow-mo across a beach. But that ad and that attitude is not going to work for the Liberals. They need to sharpen their focus. They need to have a tighter message and a more pinpointed address of the issues today. They've got to move past this very kind of languid start that they've had to the campaign and this kind of soft focus image that they've had. They need to sharpen, tighten, and be much more focused moving forward.
Okay, and the last one I want to ask the two of you about has to do with Annamie Paul, leader of the Green Party. So she's in a very challenging situation. She does not have a seat in Parliament. She is trying desperately to win a seat. She's chosen a very difficult riding, a Liberal stronghold of Toronto Centre. And basically, so far in this campaign, and I believe for much of it, she, if not all of it, will spend within her own riding to try and win that back from the Liberals so she can actually enter Parliament. Does that make sense to you politically, Lindsay, to basically hunker down in your own riding and try to win it?
Well, there's certainly a practicality about it, but from an optics point of view, there is the air of desperation when she's consistently in St. Paul's. Mind you, to give her a little bit of rope, these are the early August days of the election. This isn't really going to pick up steam until the post-Labor Day wave. Nothing remarkable has happened yet. So in terms of strategy, it makes sense that she creates a bit of a home base within her home base to find security there. But, it's a stark contrast when you pit her against visually and from a news cycle against the Prime Minister and Regina and O'Toole as he's traveling west as well. So there's going to have to be change there. But of course, it begs the question as to why. And you've got to think about budgetary constraints and, of course, a real need to hold locally.
Yeah, it's a great point. And, it does speak to the question, which is always the issue for the Green Party, Clive, as you know, are they ready for prime time? And are there financial considerations that are limiting the ability of the leader to travel? And, of course, the civil war that Annamie Paul found herself in with members of her own party executive. And ultimately, she has taken a noble position. I need to win this riding. I'm running in a riding that I live in. I'm not going to be parachuted into another one where maybe a Green candidate would have a better choice. But there may be a cost to her choice to do that.
Yes, and frankly, she has no choice now but to sort of remain in the riding and campaign from there, because she has been fighting this incredible battle, internal battle with her own party, which has left her stranded on the sidelines of the national election campaign, trying to get her voice heard by shouting from the sidelines, and she can't actually get into the game because the battle she's been fighting with her own party has been far more brutal and more damaging than anything that will happen during this campaign against the candidate that she's running against, the Liberal she's running against in her own riding.